Hello and welcome to another Author Talks. I know I lied. Last week was the last one, but I assure you this week is the last one. Only because this next guest is an amazing person. She does super cool stuff. A real pillar of the horror community out our direction. Yeah, so if you're just tuning in, or if this is your whatever video we're on, 13th, 14th, however many, what we do is we'll talk, we'll chit chat. You guys drop your comments into wherever the respective comment box is for whatever platform you happen to be on. Drop your questions in. Could be about anything. Who's your favorite Jason Voorhees, or even deeper than that. Whatever you'd like to see if we can answer. Be more than happy to jump in there with some answers. So, as always, go to frightreads.com for your tickets for the full guest list. We have this year alone, I think, is more special guests than we've ever had total ever. That includes authors. You can even split them up. The authors category for some of the special guests that we have, like Heather Graham and Jeff Strand and Bridget Nelson and the Chismars. The list goes on. I mean, we have so many great people, and we have Adam Caesar for one day. If you didn't know, Clown in a Cornfield is a great book. It became a greater movie, and that boy is in popular demand now. So Adam is a great guy. He is going to keep his commitment, but only can do Sunday. Sad. So we only get him for one day. So make sure if you're coming specifically to meet Adam Caesar, get a Saturday ticket or a weekend ticket. If you're coming just on Sunday, you just missed him. So without further ado, I am going to bring in this super awesome person. We met years ago, and I don't know what I'd be doing without this woman as an absolute asset and pillar of the horror community, as I said. Please welcome DonnaJean. Yay! And everything should be working.
Looks like everything is working, except me being computer illiterate and all that. I couldn't hook it up to my Facebook, but I'll share it later.
It happens.
And the links were on Facebook, so if anybody joined us, that's most more wonderful. And hello.
It looks like somebody's watching so far. So we just started. So usually about 10 minutes in, this thing starts to ramp up, and we'll see some questions and some people participating. But like I said in your over-the-top introduction, it might not be that far-fetched to say you are a pillar of this community. At least, okay, maybe not in California or in the middle of Arizona or something, but definitely in this tri-state area.
If you're in central Pennsylvania, Maryland, any aspects of New Jersey, and even Monroeville, you probably recognize my face from conventions. Yeah. And whoever's watching this, if they recognize mine, I'm sure I recognize theirs as well. I'm actually so honored because I worked at Living Dead Weekend 2 weekends ago. Yeah, that is a show near and dear to my heart. And sadly, we are only going to have 3 more shows there because the Monroeville Mall was sold to Walmart.
Walmart.
Walmart. And the Monroeville Mall, of course, is where Dawn of the Dead was filmed. And they're going to have 1 more show in October and 2 shows next year. And then they'll be having to find someplace else to do. It's still in Pittsburgh. But it was such a wonderful experience. And I actually had somebody who was a long-term Facebook friend that on Facebook, I post people's birthdays quite often.
Yeah.
And this gentleman always, every day, put illustrations he drew of the person, oftentimes photos of himself with them at conventions going years back. And he came up to the table. He sent me a text and said, or a message and said, "Are you working here? Where are you? Is it okay if I come up and meet you?" So he came up to the table to meet me. And it was
the heck with the celebrity you're next to.
Well, I did introduce him as well and got lovely photos of them together and lovely photos of us together. But it was really such an honor that people associate me with something that is near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. And we'll give Living Dead its little pedestal moment. But I did that event 2 years ago.
I
Sounds right.
remember seeing you there.
Yeah, I'll just
I
say
think it was when
we'll say
Linnea
2.
was there, I think.
No, I was at the other year when they had the entire
Oh.
reunion, or whoever's left. That's how I've been putting it. Like the whoever's left reunion, they had everybody, and I was right next to Tom Savini, and Ken Forey was in the other room, and
Oh, yeah.
he looked at me
Actually,
like I was crazy because
I was with
I got his picture. The autograph that I got signed was Keenan and Kel television show from Nickelodeon, and he's like,
yep.
"Yes," and I was like, "Yeah, I know. I came to the Living Dead con to get a Nickelodeon show signed, but listen, I have my reasons. I loved you as the very irate, over the top dad. Not that I didn't love him in Dawn of the Dead, but
Right.
or even his little cameo that he had in the reboot, which some people may or may not know that was him when he's the newscaster. He
Right.
gets to say his infamous quote, "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth." And he says that as a newscaster.
Yeah, that is
You
just
can't
such
you can't
an
write a
awesome.
better line.
No,
Um,
no.
but
I
I got
was
to do that.
with Billy Butler that year.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I
You
was
were
in
in
the
you were in
theater.
the other room.
Yep.
You
Yep.
were opposite. You were near um Jim, right? Helicopter Zombie. You were in that same room. Yeah,
Yep. And
and it's
Jim has just become such a good friend, and I adore that man. And
yeah.
because I can't help myself, because I love him, he is actually going to be at a show. Um, well, he's going to be, for the best of my knowledge, I believe he's going to be at the next Monroeville Living Dead weekend in
Okay.
October. But I know he's also going to be at the Carlisle Comic Con, which is like 20 minutes from my
Yeah, that's
house
in your
in
backyard.
October. And that's Friday and Saturday. And I'm going to be working with Sonia Thompson, who is also a lovely, amazing
Yeah.
zombie-esque kind of person. Wait, there's something about me and zombies.
Do you like zombies?
I must.
So yeah, when I did the Living Dead, I tell everybody up front. They're like, "Well, how'd you do?" And I'm like, "It's not about how I did. I didn't sell a single book. I look at my entire library of books that I've written. Not one of them has zombies.
Oh,
So
maybe
not my
that'll have to
people.
change.
I mean, they're my people, but they're not my people. You know, they're not going to look at me and go, "Ooh, you have a book about aliens and monsters? This sounds perfect." I may have gotten that if somebody gave me half a chance and it was like a mix of interest. But man, I will say that event is a very zombie laser focus event. Like if you're not there for zombies, the
Yep.
undead, Living Dead, Return of the Deads, whatever, then it's probably not for you.
Well, the bottom line is it's very George A. Romero based.
Yeah. If you're not
So if
there
anybody's
for
a
that stuff,
Romero fan, they got to go to this.
yeah. But I tell everybody, I'm like, no, I didn't sell any books. But and I even led with this when I mentioned the event. I was next to Tom frickin' Savini. I came in and they had my booth right here, and then up on the wall was his banner, and I was like, nice. We're gonna be buddies. And he's
So did
he's
you
an
become
awesome
buddies?
guy. I mean, he's been an awesome dude.
Yeah.
Look at that
Great.
career. It's either him or Greg Nicotero. I mean, it's a 50-50 shot in terms of like who's done more special effects. Those guys have been everywhere.
Both zombie related. There
Both
might be
zombie
something to
related.
do with that. Both
But
about zombies.
but I'm right next to right next to Tom, and I'm already excited. And you know, me and Steve are doing the event, and he's like, "That's Tom Savini," and I was like, "I know, be cool." So we get into it, and yeah, I didn't sell a book. I'll tell you what I did do. I was down the aisle from Tom Savini, just one table away, and there's nothing like the back. When we come in as vendors, we load in through the back hallways. The back hallways haven't been updated since that movie was shot.
That's so true.
And it wasn't a prevalent part, like the actual main part of the mall was the focus, but there were scenes when they were running around in the back aisleways and passageways. It's still the same goofy yellow paint. It's like you look at this and you go, no shit, I know who that's from. It might not be the hallway that was in there, but it is it's all the same hallway.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and it's kind of cool to do that. And if you haven't been up there, go for the sake of the museum.
Right. The museum is amazing.
Outside of the events, like you can go there on a
Right.
Tuesday and it's there. And it's not just the Living Dead stuff. It's they had at the time they had Mind Hunter. They had like half of the fuselage that was used in one of the episodes.
They had since I was just there, and I stepped I if I was walking back and forth for any reason, I often would stop in just to be like, hey guys.
Yeah.
But I also had a photo done with this gentleman, whose name escapes me because my memory's crap, who does this amazing Flyboy cosplay. And they were actually
I saw that.
And his foot's
and he had his head.
Yes.
They
did a photo op with him in the museum in the elevator. And so while I was in the elevator walking to there, I was reminded that there was a like a prop from Evil Dead, from like the cabin, the front porch from the Evil Dead cabin.
It was like an actual like piece of the door or something.
Right,
like
right.
It's part of the structure. Yeah.
Awesome, fun stuff like that.
And it's not just, Dawn of the Dead. It's, like I said, Mind Hunt, like Evil Dead, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's kind of sort of a Deadite is kind of zombie like, we can make that connection. But Mind Hunter, a police procedural basically about serial killers, has nothing to do with it. And yet this stuff is in there.
Fun fact, which nobody may care about, but my husband and I don't actually 100% share things that we like to watch.
Yeah.
So in the process of us watching stuff together and things that he liked, he introduced me to all of the CSI and all of those things. We ended up watching them with Mindhunter. So like I now had some knowledge about what I saw in the museum.
And it's so wild to see that. But I think the coolest thing, if you do make the trek to go out there, they took JCPenney's elevator, the infamous elevator where the door opens up and Flyboy's been zombified and he's got his gun kind of hanging out of his hand and he's shuffling through. When that pivotal scene, they have since remodeled that JCPenney. I think that was done in the 90s or something. And they were getting rid of the elevator and they were like, can we have it? And they took it piece by piece and rebuilt it inside of this building. And I love that. I love that for the museum. And I really hope, if push comes to shove and that everything does have to move and Walmart doesn't go, all right, fine, you guys win, and we get our like 80s cartoon ending where they're just shaking their fist in the air like, you kids.
Yes.
If we don't get that, I hope
I'm hearing Scooby-Doo coming into my mind.
But I'm hoping that they can at least move all that really neat stuff and find a permanent home in the area because while we may lose the mall, which is very unfortunate, it's not like it's just like a part of a street that they filmed Halloween on or something. They filmed that movie on the roof, in the hallways, in the aisleways, in several department stores. Everything about that movie in relation to the mall is iconic, and I really hope that the guys up in Monroeville can move their stuff and get to a better spot.
It's funny because Ken Foray has jumped. It's not funny. It's awesome. Ken Foray has jumped on board of somebody trying to declare the mall a historic landmark. And I love how he posted about it on Facebook. He said, I am part of that historic landmark. And indeed he is.
He is. It's so, I mean, honestly, if it ever got its historical sanction, I think a big like plaque or something of like maybe a cast and crew photo, something that exists, should be right there in like the middle of the mall.
Right.
I mean, I know that. Well, then what does that mean for the mall is the other weird question. Like, does it stay as a mall? Because I mean, I got struggling malls out here, but.
Well, I think really the bottom line of it is Walmart bought it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I don't think anything can be turned around. Yeah.
Walmart's going to be all about making money with whatever that means in whatever means that means. So, the owner, Living Dead Weekend, Kevin, is amazing. And he actually has kind of slotted out this area, this spot that was for the the convention, and he has 2 big rooms, and it was in rooms throughout the mall before, but at least we still have these 2 big rooms that he kind of went into, took care of, got done. He and the Living Dead Weekend, Living Dead Museum folks who are all just mind blowing. Oh, by the way, completely different note. I know I'm not an author, other than my ridiculous stuff I post on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
But I have on my Vincent Price Reads Poe shirt just for the occasion. Vincent Price Reads Poe.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Isn't that cool?
And that's honestly, I think he did the. If there's anybody that's done more Edgar Allan Poe movies, that guy.
Yep.
He's been every Poe character, and I can't think of, if Edgar Allan Poe was around when Vincent Price was around. It's kind of like that the Danny Elfman Tim Burton situation. I think it would just be something that's fated, and you'll have to be together. And I think that would have been how they would have gotten together. I'd like to think. Probably not.
They might. I don't know if Poe would have been.
Poe didn't seem to like cats.
Yeah, well.
And Vincent Price did. So I don't know. That might be
Well, Vincent Price actually wrote a book about his dog, about love for his dog.
Yeah. I was like, he loved cats and dogs. Like he was constantly with a pet in his arms.
He was
you would see him in all kinds of photos.
Awesome and amazing in every way.
Absolutely.
So when I first met you,
I was gonna say we actually met
at a convention. You were at the next table.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, did we meet at Monster Mania? No, we met at an event just prior to that.
Yep.
And I think we linked up at Monster Mania. Went, hey.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you were next to the Cherry. You were helping the Cherry Bomb herself.
And that was awesome.
What a lovely person.
Oh
my God. She was just so pleasant. And I know Ryan was helping me with the table, and he was just like, thank you so much for having me this day. She was absolutely fantastic. Krampus says she absolutely rocks.
Hey, Baltimore Krampus, I love you.
Who doesn't? Everybody loves him.
I know. How do you not love Krampus?
But yeah, she was fantastic. And then we had old Flash Gordon at the end of the aisle.
Right.
It was kind of fun, and I think we just had a lot of downtime at the event and got to know each other.
Yep. Oh, and then, as soon as we met there, and I was like, you know what? You're within driving distance of me, so I'm going to go and support this. And then Linnea Quigley is.
I was going to say that was year 3. I had Linnea and the Clerks guys.
Yep, so. and Ari Lehman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to kind of just throw this out there. Hope
and
Linnea wouldn't mind, but she is one of my best friends. So when I realized she was there, it turned out I was gonna work with her then, and I had bought like a VIP ticket, and you kept wanting to give me money back, and I was like, "Look, let me just support the show." And that's when you
have my shirt in my bag.
I am definitely gonna stay a part of this now, because this is good stuff here.
Well, and you've been doing it for so long with everybody else that the second that she requested for you to be at her table, you just went in and did it.
Oh.
And I just went, okay, sure. Well, if you're working my event, I'm going to refund you your ticket, and I'll take care of you, because that's what you do. If you're working my event, why are you paying to get in? But yeah, you were over there, and you were just having fun with old friends, and I then see you 2 months later ish at Monster Mania. I'll say maybe not quite exactly 2 months, but 2 months ish, and there you are with your other friend.
Monster Mania has 4 shows a year, and that is absolutely my just
that's your home base.
So that I just adore all of the human beings there, the owners, yes, even Doug Hagen. I say that tongue in cheek, but I do love them all.
He's such a pain in the butt, but I love him.
And the volunteers are all amazing, and the guests are all amazing. So what is not to love, kind of thing. Yeah, but I know I saw you at a couple of those when you'd have your table.
I have been So I think I've never, I never will, uh, have tabled the Baltimore show that they used to have in Pikesville or
Oh yeah,
Reisterstown or whatever.
Hunt
Um,
Valley. That
yeah,
was my
Hunt
favorite
Valley.
show ever.
Yeah, I've attended plenty of times, but I never got the opportunity to vend, and I
Oh,
never will. Um, I didn't have a good time at the Baltimore show because Baltimore, I mean, that's literally like it's down the road from me, and there's just the city just has so many logistical issues
yeah.
that I got frustrated with it. It's no fault of theirs other than picking that city. But I mean, the show is fine, but I don't know, it's
Honestly, this is
parking and
only
the traffic and multiple events, and God forbid you got a
yeah.
sports ball game and something happening at the Hippodrome, and then you had what Sabrina Carpenter was playing last year.
Yeah, at
It was,
the same time.
it's
Yeah.
just the wrong time, place, and idea. But the show that I absolutely jump onto is the Oaks show because I think
Mm.
me personally, and I've heard other people go, I hate the Oak show. I like this show better. I personally like this. Everybody has their preference, but for me, I like the Oaks show because there's not, I don't knock hotel conventions,
Mhm.
but they are so limited in their hall space and their aisleway space. And you get enough people in there and they get tight.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the Oaks floor plan because there's room in between the booths. You can navigate, you can walk, you can have people looking at both booths on each side, and you still have room for both ways traffic. So it's for me, from an anxiety standpoint, I like their floor plan.
Actually,
Yeah,
it's funny
Oaks is
because
awesome.
something I've realized happens with me is that I will see people at a show, and not everybody, but occasionally somebody will say to me, want me to compare shows, which I will not do.
Like
You
compare
know,
like the Monster Manias or compare like Frightreads to anybody
somebody
else.
asked
They're
me
better.
at Living Dead weekend,
Yeah.
oh, what do you think the prices are here compared to Monster Mania? Because everybody knows me for Monster Mania, and I'm honored by that. I've actually had probably a half a dozen people over the years ask if I was the Monster Mania mascot. I would love to be the Monster Mania
Yes,
mascot,
you are. Well, you're
but
the Frightreads mascot. You have to dethrone that bird,
mascot.
um,
But
but
really,
and that's a
even
hard
even
question
the thing
because
is that if somebody says, "Well," they said to me, "What are the prices like compared to Monster Mania?" And I said, "Well, first of all, please realize that the
I would say
conventions don't
I'll
set the
tell you
prices; the agents do."
I'll tell you from an event running standpoint. Here's the inside. I'll peel away the mask
Well,
here. The agents and the celebrities themselves, more or less, somewhere on that side, they set their prices.
well, that's
That's not
actually what I
Monster
told them. I
Mania.
said the
Yeah,
agents set the prices, but even then, they're completely different shows.
yeah,
So I would in no way would be able to compare them. But
and it
I'm
is. You
not going to
get different
start saying,
crowds.
"Oh, this is more, this is less." You have different actors, but even then, if it's
Yeah.
the same actor, um, if you have to ask, you can't afford it, big man.
But that's the thing,
That's
like
so perfect.
you can't base okay, so even Fright Reads event number one versus Fright Reads event number two, insert year here. Um, Linnea is going to cost more or less than Stay Puft the Marshmallow Man. And he's going to cost differently from Jason Voorhees. And he's going to it like
Yep.
I try to give like a balloon window, like I don't know, like 30, 40 bucks and up. I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
Right.
But the
And
only
if you're
thing that is
talking about
guaranteed
a
are
talent
floor
like
prices.
William Shatner, I don't even know. You're going to have to wait till you get there because anything I tell you will probably not be right. You know.
Or what's his name? Baldwin. Good night. My God, you want to talk about itemized? I'm not here to bash the celebrity's side hustle, but good Lord, you were nickel and diming me for a signature, a picture, the name of the character, a quote, to use a special pen. I don't know, to have the wind blowing eastward. It really all depends,
And
and
I will tell you the amount of people I myself personally love the hotel shows because I'm old. I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was 4. I'm 62 now. I've had surgery in both of my eyes, and the side effects are I've lost my night vision.
yeah,
And I don't have peripheral, and I don't have depth perception anymore. All of that being what it is, I cannot drive back and forth to a show in the dark.
Yeah.
So really, in fact, the one that I'm going to be working in Carlisle, since Friday night starts late and ends late, I'm going to be taking an Uber to and back.
Yeah.
Because I can't drive in the dark. So for me, since
Because
I
you're
always
saving on a
prefer,
hotel.
yes, if I'm staying at the hotel, it's just going in and out of the elevator. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is selfishly my feeling about it for myself. I
Oh, yeah.
understand if other people feel like as you feel, and there's the ups and the downs of both sides. So fortunately, we have them to choose from.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I have the two different Frightreads shows. Some people don't want to do a 2-day commitment. They want to
Right,
be in and out in a couple of hours. So while I'm not in a hotel, I acknowledge that, and that's the reason why Monster Mania has options. If you don't want to do the big stupid Baltimore show with its stupid roads and its stupid parking garages and asinine everything, then don't.
I
You
will
can
say I
go
love
to
that
Jersey.
convention center, and I love the rooms. I
Well,
can't.
they're not using the convention center. They're using the
The
hotel.
hotel, right?
The
But I
convention center
right,
is
that's
kind of
correct. I'm sorry,
the
but I
convention
love
center
that
is a little
hotel.
but
I think it's awesome. I just
it's a beautiful hotel, and I think I saw it a little bit this past one where I think their first year at the Baltimore location, they weren't sure what to do with the space because the hotel has all these nooks and crannies and hallways and weird stuff. There's like a skywalk that takes you to a whole new area. And I think year one they were kind of feeling it out. And then I noticed on year two we were using the sky bridge and there was stuff over there. So I feel like the next one they're gonna go, okay, what if? And they're gonna expand even more, which is exactly how you should do it. I never want to see not that Monster Mania is on their first year, but it's first year at this location. You don't know what to expect.
that is
You
the
don't,
thing. I have to say,
yeah,
they learn and grow, and you can see it happening if you attend. And
yeah,
one of the, oh my gosh, let me tell you this because it's kind of hilarious in a way. People get so wrapped up in who they want to see or what they want to see
yeah.
that always, if there's going to be a line outside for a guest, it is either going to be 100 degrees or it's going to be 10 degrees and freezing rain.
Let me
If
tell you about Robert England.
it's always
It was
exactly
100 degrees with 100% humidity, and the sun was on me. That
and it
stage from
was in
Super
May.
Mario where the sun is trying
In
to kill
March.
you. Yeah, it was that show that they did in the summer. It was like in August or
August,
July
yeah.
or
They
something.
have an
Yeah.
August show every year
Oh
at
my
Cherry Hill.
God, that was awful. And I'll add more icing on the cake. So I'm in line for old Freddy Krueger, and if you've ever been at an event where he's at, he's a talker, he's a schmoozer. Everybody will get at least 5 hours out of the man before he moves on to the next one. Not knocking that. It's a good bad business practice. It's good because if I'm in there and I'm talking to him, I'm getting my money's worth. If I'm 3 people behind, I am pissed. But I love the guy. He was very personable and he was great, but he was taking a while with his people, and we were out just in the sun outside. So if you remember how they had the one little side annex was set up,
Yeah.
you would line up outside, not in the hallway, not in the convention itself, but outside. And
Just because there's not room inside.
Yeah.
If
So
we could have it be inside, we would be. We would.
It was so hot and miserable. And there's me dressed up as Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, full 3-piece suit and a raincoat, because that's what you wear in the dead of August when it's 1,000 degrees outside. Oh,
with the
man.
sun glaring just on you.
But then you have the flip side, which is Oaks. Oaks is literally the flip side, and sometimes it's warm, and other times it's warm like 60 or so.
Yeah.
But other times you're out there with like a coat and gloves and hat and scarf, and you're just bundled up to the nines, just trying to survive, waiting to get in.
Yeah.
So it's wild, and I try not to get. I like being in spring when it's not too hot, and I like being right at the cusp of fall where it's starting to cool down. We might get like 60, 70 degrees, maybe in the low 80s on a good weekend. But
Right.
I try to do that because I want to be comfortable and not
Yeah.
overheated.
What's kind of crazy, we had, and I don't mean to keep jumping back on Monster Mania, but so many of the examples I have are probably
How
because
can
I've
you
done
not? Though? How
so
can you
many
not? They're
shows.
the bigger ones in the area.
After COVID, the first convention that they had was their first one in Oaks, and it was
The parking lot con.
and it was in like April, and
Yeah.
it was like 95 degrees, and it's just like, how could it be 95 degrees in April? Because there was a Monster Mania show outside. That's why.
So there's a show that happens out here in the city called Artscape, and it's been going on for a long time. I don't even know how many years, 60, 70, 80, whatever. It's been a long, like, it's been a reoccurring tradition. And this Artscape show is notoriously on the hottest day of the year. It doesn't matter. They moved. So, it's been, as of recent, it's been in the 50s and 60s for no reason at all the way through, June. It's been, for whatever reason, cold. They held Artscape, and it was the first 97-degree day. And I said, how? It's literally been borderline snowing outside. I've been outside in jeans and considering a sweater, and they have Artscape, and suddenly it's 100 degrees outside. And I was like, it's tradition, no matter where. And they moved the dates 2 months early and still got cooked. So I think it's something's out there. Something's out there to get Monster Mania, some higher power, something out there that has the power.
Well, clearly Artworks is in that same situation if they're going to be 97 degrees.
Artscape definitely gets it every year, and it's hilarious to me. But yeah, like, so we've done Oaks plenty of times together. I know I took you to and from old Bob Evans, and we got some coffee.
Yeah.
Because you can't go to work without the coffee. You're not going to make it. Nobody wants that. So yeah, you've been holding it down over there for the celebrity side, and it's just amazing how, like, I'll see a few people that I see every event over and over, a couple of different authors that'll be in the vendor side. I'll get to know them. But there are very few celebrities that are so personable that you can just go, "Hey, what's going on, man?" And they're like, "Hey," and they remember you. Art the Clown is one of them. David Howard Thornton.
Oh my gosh. David is just amazing. He's just an amazing human being. In fact, I had the good fortune to tell him this last show that I saw him, because he has become so popular, and rightfully so. I'm so glad, because he deserves that. He's not only.
Do you remember the lines for the Terrifier cast that were like 3 or 4 people deep, and there's poor David with like a half dozen of people? I got to go up there and BS with him. This was Terrifier 2 time. It had came out, and everybody's like, okay. When 3 came out,
oh man,
what a transition. When 3 came out and it hit theaters, everyone beating down the door to see that man. I mean, you couldn't get a word in with him edgewise.
It's funny.
What a transition.
My first interviews I ever did for DonnaJean's Coffee House of Horror, and I'll tell you how I came to that name. But the first interview I did, I was working at a show, and I was working with Nathan Basil, who I had requested working with because I absolutely, love him and Angela Goethals in, oh my gosh, I'm losing my brain. The Rise of Leslie Vernon.
Yes.
So I wanted to work with Leslie Vernon, and I heard all these people talking to him, and it was so cool. And I kind of my husband had just gotten me this little mini camera thing. And I said to him, Nathan, would you be okay if I interviewed you? It's so great to hear you talking to people. And I know there are people aren't here would love to hear it. And he's like, sure, let's do it Sunday morning. So I stopped. It was with an hour distance because it was at, in Gettysburg. So I got us both coffee. We had coffee. and did the interview. And I showed my husband, because I had never done one before. I never thought about doing one. And my husband said, you know, you're really good at that. And I said, really?
Yeah.
I love to connect with people. I love to know about them. So really, if I'm just doing that, it's going to end up being interesting because they're free to talk about how their feelings about it. Well, David happened to be at that show, David and Damien, and so did
Yeah.
Felissa Rose. So I ended up interviewing all three of them at that show, and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, a good friend of mine, David Partenio,
When COVID happened, nothing happened.
he said, look, why don't we keep doing the interviews? Why don't we do them online to keep
like
people
this.
connected? So during COVID, my glucose monitor is doing loud beeps. So sorry.
I was about to say your Hot Pocket's ready, but that's it.
Yeah. Being a type 1 diabetic and on a glucose monitor, if people are with me, my monitor is going to go off if it's a little bit high or a little bit low, and it's not anything dangerous. It's just something that needs my attention for a minute.
Yeah.
But so when COVID happened, I ended up like all of those people I mentioned have come to be who I would consider dear friends, very near and dear to my heart. And I connected with all of them. And in fact, Felissa's like my soul sister. And I've worked with Felissa at shows. I've been
trying to wrangle her down, and she is just everywhere.
She's so busy. So
I need to book her out 5 years in advance.
With that group of people,
yeah,
that I ended up during COVID being able to say, let's jump on the computer and just do a chat with people. And David Howard Thornton was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I basically got through COVID with Felissa, David Howard Thornton, and some of the other people that we've kind of connected to each other. And of course, David, who ended up becoming the mind behind Nerd Box, which is what my show is a part of.
Yeah.
And I just had a chance to tell David this recently, that he got me through COVID. I don't think he realized he was like my first or second interview I ever did, and that it was not thought out or investigated. It was just us sitting and talking. And that's actually what Linnea has come to. She called my show to me, which is how now I refer to it. I'm not an interviewer. My show is friends talking. And I like that. And David really got me through so much of that. And it's so funny because I had a chance to tell him that, because at one time it would just be like, let's just jump on here, David. Now it's like, I know I would have to go through his manager and all that, which I am so glad for him about that.
Yeah. But it's funny though, because like, what was it? Somebody said, oh, I had to wait in his line for almost 6 hours. And I'm like, where were you 2 years ago?
Right. Right.
Where were you 2 years ago when he was just getting started? So that's me telling you, stop waiting in line for Mr. King. He will continue to write a book every 3 months. Go stand in line for people like me. That way you can build that rapport early. And then when they're making like terrible movies about my books and TV miniseries, and they have video games based off of it, and just pop culture itself is just altered for forever and ever because of my writings. Then you can come up to me at whatever event that they have kind of gated and roped off, and there will be a handshake, a high five, and you'll get to hang out with me while everybody waits in line. So that's how that works.
Sounds like a good plan. I'll come and
play the long game.
Take the people's tickets while they go in.
Yeah, and you got to play the long game.
Actually, what's kind of cool, and I'm sorry I keep jumping around. I know we're limited time.
No, you're fine.
I'm kind of excited because we'll have Tara Buckman coming to your show.
Yeah.
And she has
another one of your buddies.
Yeah, well, I was very honored. Somebody gave her my name to see about getting into conventions, because I just know some people. And I actually did.
You're an agent without being an agent.
Oh, in fact, I even told her, it's like, I am not an agent. I'm not a booking agent. I'm not, but I know, but I have some friends.
Yeah,
so I got her
in touch with
Matt Burns, and Matt Burns got in touch with you. So she's coming, and I'm so excited she'll be there to get to meet her, because I've spoken to her. And
it's so much fun because we had Linnea, who
Yes.
was in the same movie.
Yep.
While she was hooked up on some antlers,
Right.
mom was getting bludgeoned on the floor.
Silent Night, Deadly Night for anybody that doesn't know.
What? No, this is what happened. This is real. um, yeah, she was naked and got hooked up on some antlers. It's fine. And then there was that other movie where she was naked. That's Linnea right there in a nutshell. I tell anybody, like, what did she do? I was like, she was the naked girl in the zombie movie. Oh yeah. I'm like, there you go. That's all you needed to know.
That exactly. If you just say,
well, who was she in the Silent Night?
Naked. So
yeah, who was she in Silent Night? You know, the naked girl in the antlers. That's it. It's like that one guy that's he's got the same name. He's played like that same criminal name for every movie or TV show. It's like that. Naked girl, insert position here.
exactly.
Hanging off something, standing on something,
naked,
dancing on what.
80s horror girl. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that's peak 80s. Like I don't know that flies today, but for sure that was definitely late 70s, 80s movies. But yeah, the fact that we have the two of them a couple of years apart, but if you got something Silent Night signed by Linnea a couple of years back when we were in Millersville,
right, bring it out. Let's get it.
Bring your VHS or your DVD remaster or whatever, if that exists.
Now Tara is also going to be at that Carlisle Comic Con, which is a Friday and a Saturday and not a Saturday and a Sunday. So people will have all kinds of chances to meet her, depending on where they are and where they want to go.
But come to mine first.
But come to Frightreads.
Yeah, come to Frightreads because that's what the thing says.
Because not only all of the folks that you mentioned earlier, but Freddy Krueger's mom is going to be at Frightreads, Beatrice Boapel.
I'm going to say Beatrice is one of your buddies too.
She is. I'm going to be working with her. So
I feel like I just booked all your friends. And now you don't know who to stand next to. So maybe I'll put them next to each other so you can bounce between tables. But Beatrice is unique in she's kind of like another one of your buddies, Bill Perry. Bill is a stunt man, is or was. I think he's kind of no longer being thrown through windows these days. But
who told me that his hardest stunt was being in a dryer. I'll never forget that.
And that wasn't even for work. That was just a Tuesday. So with Bill, he had his books by his hand.
Yes.
So he had a couple of books, and he actually came up to me and said, "Harry, I just want to be honest. I didn't sell a lot of autographs, but I sold out of all my books." And I was like, "And, dude, you sold out of your books at a book festival. Mission accomplished."
And
like your legacy is stuntman, but
by his hand made into a coloring book.
A coloring book.
Is that a coloring?
So, and I love when the special guests play both sides of the house.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's where Beatrice.
I knew you'd love B because she's not only is she Amanda Krueger, but she wrote a book about being
Amanda Krueger.
She'll have that with her, which is awesome.
It's so wild. And and I like that when they have something that definitely fit. Like, we're gonna have celebrity guests, but now when you have somebody going, but I thought you were a book festival. Well, guess what? They have a book. So how about them apples? But yeah, she's very unique in that she has a book. And the cool thing about this book is you can't just go on Amazon or wherever and buy this book.
Right.
It is only through her.
Right.
And if she's doing a physical appearance, you can buy the book or you go through her website. But that's not as fun.
Right. Because then you don't get to see her and have it signed and get a picture with her.
Ask questions, talk about it. What was it like to blankety blank?
Right.
So yeah, she's another one that kind of plays both sides of the house. And I love that. And I know who was it?
Can I tell you a story about B?
Yeah.
So when she was filming a movie with Jim Crott and Nancy Ann Ritter.
Which one was that with was that Blood and Breakfast?
Blood and Breakfast.
Yeah. We showed that. So we showed Blood and Breakfast at Halfway to Halloween. So if anybody came and saw that, they probably saw her in there.
So my little claim to fame about Blood and Breakfast is that I was asked if I could pick her up at the train station and take her there where they were filming.
Okay.
So I was happy to because I love her. So I did. And while we were there, we went to get some lunch, and I'm vegan, and I believe she's vegan, but she is so knowledgeable about everything. She lived
Yeah.
in Japan. She lived everywhere. So we went and we got some food, and I'm terrible. I don't know if the owners were Japanese or Cantonese, I just didn't know. But B ended up asking them, and they told her, and she started speaking to them in the language.
What?
I know, right? And I was just like, okay, anything that this woman that I didn't know she already was, she is now. She's just all of it. She's everything. She can just speak Cantonese or Chinese, and I apologize, I don't know
She was just able to speak the language of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's that dangerous woman that you have at a like a nail salon when they start talking trash. I love watching those videos where all of a sudden they just start speaking the language because they understand them clear as day.
And it's just like, oh man. And I mean, it was amazing to me. And then she was doing photos with all of them that were coming out, and
Wow.
we told them, she was Freddy Krueger's mom, and it was just such a wonderful experience because she was so enjoying herself and enjoying them.
Yeah.
And there was nothing at all haughty about that woman's attitude. It was all just humble and embracing. So if
Yeah,
anyone does want to
she's
meet
not
this,
a "do you know who I am" person.
I know.
Yeah.
And she's
She'll let
just
you know
like,
who she is because
right.
she's Freddy Krueger's mom, but there's no arrogance or, there's
No,
nothing
it's
about
kind
it.
of like me
Very
saying, oh
humble.
yeah, I'm a type 1 diabetic. Sorry about my little beeps,
And that's how she just throws out there, "Oh yeah, it was Freddy Krueger's mom." Okay. Okay.
Hey,
And
I
then
would
that's
like
it.
to, and I hope you don't mind, let me see, I have the dates written down. Actually, a couple of weeks before the Oak Show in November, the Monster Mania Oak Show, is a
That's late
brand new
November,
creature
right?
feature that's going to be in Scranton. And I'm pretty
Oh
excited
yeah.
about that because there's not a
So
whole lot up in Scranton that I
is
know
this
of.
their first time moving the show to an alternate location?
Well,
Because
it's
I know
not,
they've been in
yeah,
Gettysburg.
it'll be the first time it's the Scranton show. Yeah.
Okay,
So
but it's usually in
I'm
Gettysburg. But is this their first time
yep,
having a different
yep,
location for the show?
yep. And it
Okay.
actually, I mean, as far as I know, they will continue to have the Gettysburg show. I
But if
myself hope so because
but if
it's
show
really
number
close
two
to me.
works, you could have Gettysburg and Scranton.
That's kind of my hope. And
Then that gives you more to do, more work. Because at Creature Feature, we found you with a particular next door neighbor / vampire.
right,
Uh,
I
uh,
just
you have
I
you
loved
have
working with
Pierce,
Amanda Bierce. I just loved
all
it.
of Marcy Darcy.
Oh, to you, Darcy. To me,
Yeah,
she's Amy from Fright Night.
yeah.
You
Either
know,
one. You had all
I asked
Marcy
her
Darcy there.
if she would mind doing a little video saying, go away, evil, for my daughter who was not at the show. And I
Yeah,
did it. And oh my gosh, if I closed my eyes, I would have thought I was watching the movie. It's like she just sounds exactly the same.
she was a lot of fun, and
She was beautiful.
it's really sad to have the mentality of you don't know what you're walking into with certain celebrities,
Yeah.
especially somebody that has had. I mean, Married with Children wasn't a all positives and rainbows and sunshine. She had a rough time on that show, to be very blunt and honest. Like a lot of people did.
To
It
be
was the late
honest,
'80s,
I'm
early
not really
'90s.
that familiar with that show because I didn't watch it because they're so mean.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like some of the jokes were ad libbed and off the cuff, and they were downright insulting. And I think
Yep.
it was, I mean, the show obviously between Fright Night and that show, she
hmm
those are her two biggest
Oh
credits.
yeah.
All
Oh
the
yeah.
things that she's
Sure.
done, but like those are the two that are going to come in. So when Steve came in wearing the Polk High jersey, we didn't know how she was going to take it. So he actually took the jersey off because he didn't want to upset her or put her in a mood or you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
But I said, Steve, you got to go back and put it on.
Yeah.
So put it on, and she went 4 touchdowns in one game, and he goes immediately into the mode, and she just was embracing it. And I love her
Yep.
even more for that. Was that she
Yeah.
just I mean, honestly, we're coming in there for signatures for whatever property you've been part of.
Yeah.
You always have to embrace everything that you've done because you never know what the hell they're gonna like.
Right.
Come in with some obscure 1971 like student independent film that nobody's ever heard of, and
Yeah.
you better be ready to talk about it. You'll have a fan that could like you from anything.
Well, it was so great when people would come up and have questions for her. And it was funny because there were things I think that people, okay, this is going to show how naive I sometimes am because I absolutely, Fright Night's one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
And okay, the remake, I thought David Tennant was hilarious.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
other than that, just kind of put aside. I'll love David Tennant and anything anyway.
Yeah.
But really, I'm not that familiar with Married with Children. And people kept coming up to her and saying something about a chicken. So,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
I'm
She's
not a
like a
chicken.
cooked
So
chicken.
when I was
Hot
taking her to
chicken.
the airport, I said to her, "What's the chicken thing?" And she said, "Oh, well, I have really skinny legs." And he would always say to me, "Oh, you look
Chicken.
like a chicken." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh." And people were coming up and asking her, smiling and laughing, write this on. And she was writing it because
Yeah.
she embraced
You you
people's
either
love of
take
it.
and that's the thing that you don't give it power over you anymore. You
Oh,
then collect $40 a signature for it. That's how you take
really?
power.
But that's not even, I don't think that's how she looked at it. She genuinely looked at it like these people are appreciating something that I was a part of,
True.
you know? Because and at no point once she told me what it was, I was just like, so it's basically just him being Al Bundy being mean to you. And she said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
but people don't mean it when they're coming up." And she knew people
They're just
didn't mean
quoting
that
the
when they
show.
were coming up. They were
Yeah.
laughing about it, so she was laughing with them about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at it this way. You can either let it just eat you up inside and you cancel your
Or
Hollywood
not
career,
do it. Yeah,
throw
yeah.
into a corner, or you can sit at conventions, charge people $40 and write chicken legs on everything. You take your little victories where you can.
Right. You know what? I
Like
got to throw this out too. Having worked at a number of shows, if anybody has a chance to meet Matthew Lillard and you
uh,
have to stand in line for 3 hours,
even your glucose meter agrees.
it will be so worth it. Like Robert England, I have seen people complain about waiting in line. I've never seen anybody wait after they've met him. Matthew
Yeah.
Lillard is like that. I actually saw
Good
him in
people.
Oaks,
Yeah.
talking to somebody and walking a woman in a wheelchair over to the next
Yeah.
person she wanted to see.
Yeah.
And he is just really that awesome of a human being.
He's a rare breed.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I got to meet him. I think it was the Saturday. No, I think it might have been Sunday of the show. Because I mean, guy, all the Scream people. Good Lord, that's a Freddy Krueger-esque line right there if I've ever seen it.
Yep.
Alice Cooper too, disgustingly long line. If you're not in there early, you got to wait till the end basically and hope that they're not ready to go.
I
So
had the good fortune to be working right next to Alice all weekend.
yeah,
And that man treated everybody with respect all
he's
weekend.
good people.
All those lines. He treated everybody kind and with respect. And I would put him in fact, I almost wore my Alice Cooper shirt that I got
Yeah.
at that show today, but then I
Mhm.
decided on Vincent. It was between Vincent and Alice. But
Well, I mean, isn't his name technically Vincent anyway? So technically,
there you
you
go.
know, there
It's a
you go.
word,
By the degrees of name,
right.
sort of, kind of. There you go. But so funny story about Alice Cooper. Um, my dad worked at a golf course in New York for years, and it's one that Mr. Cooper would frequent.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and he'd come up there, just normal looking, none of the crap on his face,
Yeah, of
the
course.
crazy outfits, just golf clothes and a ball cap. And he remember my dad is a huge Alice Cooper fan. Let me just segue that in there. My dad's an over-the-top fan. Like, if it wasn't Grateful Dead, it's Alice Cooper. It's the two.
Your dad and I could sit and talk music, I think.
Oh, I'm sure. But
I'm
he's the
probably
reason why I have such an eclectic like of everything. So he said he came in one time and my dad just turned into an instant like girl that just saw the Backstreet Boys or something. He was like, "Oh my God, that's Alice Cooper. Hi, how can I help you?" Okay, for two, we're gonna go ahead and put you on. Do you need any equipment? All right, well, thank you guys, and you guys have fun. If you need anything, there are phones listed everywhere and whatever. And then he walks out the doors and he goes, full on Wayne's World. I'm not worthy. But yeah, the guy comes back in a couple of weeks later, and he's like, his name is also Harry, and he goes, "Hey Harry, how's it going?" And my dad had to call me on both instances. And he goes, "I just had to tell somebody. Alice Cooper just came in here." And then I got a phone call a few weeks later. Alice Cooper remembered my name. And I said, "Were you wearing your name tag, Dad?" And he says, "Doesn't matter." But
that is cool.
He's just a genuine person. And David Morrissey, too.
Yes,
the old governor. He remembered my wife's name over and over and over the course of the entire weekend. Like, he remembered her name. And it's not like she was going up to him and introducing herself over and over.
Yeah.
She met him on Friday early on in the evening. I don't know, like 5, 6 o'clock, whenever it kicked off.
Yeah.
By Sunday afternoon, when he was getting ready to leave, he said bye to her and remembered her name. And I was like, shut the hell up.
Yeah.
That's a gift, because I don't know the guy that I just talked to, and he gave me his name 10 times.
Right.
And he stepped away from my table, and it just gone.
He must have a photographic memory. I mean, not to say that Audrey's amazing, of course, but that is
but to remember that name, like,
yeah,
I don't remember half these people, and they'll come up to me like, I've seen you at every event. And I'm like, I'm sure you have. I'm not saying you haven't, but this guy remembered names to that degree.
Yeah.
But you were saying Matthew Lillard, he's next level. That guy, I've heard that when it's not Oaks, because Oaks is it's quitting time, and the convention center's like, everybody get out. Like, they sound the purge alarm.
Yeah, he and Skeet will stay.
Yeah, he and Skeet
for everybody in line.
They'll stay at the hotels until God knows when. I mean, they might just, hey, I got to go brush my teeth real quick, and I'll come back down. Let me go brush my teeth, take a leak, and I'll be back. And start the day again, because what was it, like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning for one of the shows?
I believe so. I believe so.
It's a marathon.
I also have to, if you don't mind, I'll very quickly, we're probably running low on time, but I want to tell my Kane Hodder story.
Yes. Yeah, we'll end it on a good story about Jason Voorhees here.
Yeah. If you say who's your favorite Jason, well, for me, it's Kane. Not because of the Jason, but because of Kane. Although I do really like.
But also because it's Kane.
Also because it's Kane. I also do like Jason Goes to Hell, so people can make of that whatever they want. But so 7 years ago, I had to have 3 feet of my colon out. And I don't remember any of it, but they had to do the surgery in 2 days, remove it one day, pack me, and close me up the next day. I remember none of it. I went into a coma, something actually called, and I'll mispronounce it, encephalopathy or something like that, where my brain slowed down for 8 days.
Sounds right.
And when I woke up, I actually thought I'd been kidnapped because I didn't remember any of it. My hands were tied down because I kept pulling tubes out. Well, I couldn't hold anything, and I had to relearn how to walk. And I got a message from Dave Hagen because my daughter posted on Facebook what had happened and why I hadn't been in touch. Yeah. So I got a message from Dave Hagen that said, "Look, I know what you're going through. I know it's tough. Throw on your sweats, come out and see your family." Yeah. So at the time, the Hunt Valley show was still there. And my oldest and best friend is a nurse now. He's a nurse in a psychiatric hospital, but he's still a nurse. And he and my good friend Christy came with me, and I had my walker. And the first one I saw was Kane.
Yeah.
And Kane said, because he remembered me from everything. He remembered me from the cancer and all this. And he's like, "What's this?" So I told him, and he said, look, and he took my walker and he moved it, and he just held me up and looked in my face and just said, look, you don't let this stop you. You just go forward. You've gotten through diabetes. You've gotten through cancer. You're going to do this. And I still have a photo on my phone of that talk, of him holding me up like that. And I'm smiling away. And, you know, ever since then, I have Kane's email. We'll try to connect, you know, over holidays and stuff. But that man has like encouraged me with difficulties because he's had them himself.
Absolutely.
You know,
He's gotten the short end more often than not in the last couple of years. So yeah.
Well, he was severely burned when he was very young with a stunt that went wrong, and like very severely burned. And because his dad had addiction issues in the military, he didn't want them to give Kane any narcotic medication. So he went through so much. Oof, and then he took it and helped me, and I adopted him then, and I haven't let go then. But that's when I just thought, this place is family. This is my happy place. This is my healthy place. We all belong together, you know.
And that's why I like getting all your friends under one roof as best as I can.
I love it too. And I also
we got like 2 or 3 people that are in your circle at this event. So
I know, have a lot of friends. At least B and Tara and Matt Burns. Come out and see Matt Burns.
Matt's technically a guest because we're showing I think Blood and Breakfast, but I could be wrong. That could change. So, yeah, that could change, but Matt's one of the guests with his absurd pictures. So we'll have those guys there. So yeah, we have a bunch of your friends. That's how it works. We're just here to book your friends.
And I'm always like, by the way, going like, oh, by the way.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of by the ways. I think you message me at least once a month, like, hey, that's how I got Bill.
No, not for this year. But John Russo, you know, he has books. He has the manuscripts he's selling of Night of the Living Dead autographed.
Yeah.
We can get John Russo.
And not out of the cards, but that's how I got Bill. And I think he was an absolutely tremendous asset to the event.
That's how we had the People Under the Stairs reunion.
Yeah.
That was so awesome. That was so fun.
And I was telling Lucas, who was the agent for the other half of I think it's now for Bill as well, but he was for the other 3. And he's like, so who's this Bill guy? And I was like, to be honest, the reason y'all are here, because he wanted to do the event. Yeah. You strongly encouraged that I have him. And then I said, well, I really want to get Sean Whalen. So he's got Sean, Jan, and Brandon. So that's Full and Roach and the Stairmaster.
Yep.
And then Phil. Man, we can make this a thing. So I told him, I said, the only reason you guys are here is because of that guy over there and that woman next to him. And that kind of made him, he's like, oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
He was a little upset because it was somebody that's not under his umbrella, you know, but now he is. And
now he is, yeah.
And these are people that haven't seen each other. Bill hadn't seen the rest of them 30 years, not since the movie. And they got talking like they just had breakfast 2 days ago.
Well, in the panel, I have to tell this because it's so funny. I know we're probably out of time, but Jan was talking about his character was known as the Stairmaster because he was probably the first one that was put under there, and he was kind of the one that was sort of
their leader. Yeah.
And he said that Stairmaster, the exercise equipment, got in touch with him and wanted him to be in costume doing Stairmaster on the Stairmaster. And I can't think of that without laughing. And I wish they would have done it because how perfect would that be? Stairmaster on the Stairmaster.
But it could have been perfect. But yeah, those guys have been fantastic. I don't think we've really had any guests that, you know, sometimes an event will book somebody and they're just an asshole. And you're just like, why are they even here? Sorry we inconvenienced you by giving you money for an autograph. So sorry. But I think what helps is most of the guests are, in this case, I have one return, which is Billy coming in from Ghostbusters again. We have Mr. Stay Puffed.
Right.
I can vouch for him being an awesome guy, But I rolled the dice with him because I was like, I don't know anything about this dude. He could be just a grumpy old man. I'm telling you, some of the young guys need to get on his level. This guy was a party animal. He was absolutely just personable, had a good time. So if you get a chance, you got to meet Mr. Stay Puffed himself.
Yeah,
And if
absolutely.
you don't like Ghostbusters, you'll like Army of Darkness. If you don't like that, try Men in Black. If that doesn't work,
Right,
he's a
right.
special effects guy. He's everywhere.
And you also have Rebecca there, who is just amazing. I mean, just the
Yeah.
physical art that she does,
Yeah. We got a lot of different people. Like Becky's working with Hera's Nightmare again.
Oh, cool.
So you saw for the Halfway to Halloween that had the big house front. Yep. I'm giving them more space because we didn't have a lot to work with in the mall.
Yeah.
So they're all going to be creating and carving something absolutely next level insane. But we're going to have them doing something. We're going to have what do we have? Jane Jensen is going to be there, which is I'm one of her first convention appearances. So kind of like how Tara's doing the circuit now. She's been around for like 3 or 4 at this point. By the time she gets to me, she'll be a seasoned vet and have, a couple under her belt. But Jane's kind of the same way. She didn't realize, and now I have Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma.
That is so awesome that you have Lloyd Kaufman coming. Trauma fans, come out and see him.
So we're gonna have Uncle Lloyd. So here's where it was the happy accident with Trauma, and it's one of those steamrollers that ends up steamrolling the right way. So Brian Paoni, this is probably the only video he's not going to interrupt and jump into because he's in the middle of dealing with his book release party at Missouri State Penn, which is happening on Saturday. There's a video like several weeks ago where we talk about that. Go to brianpaoni.com for his ticket links. I think there's a few, very small handful on sale still. You can buy them and go tour a haunted penitentiary and buy a book that was written about it, among other things.
That's very cool.
But he messaged me, and kind of like you, he knows a lot of people too, but in a weird, different sense, because these are people that he's known for like 30, 40 years. And it's just like, do you want to have this person? And I'm like, yeah, how the hell do you know that person? And often it says, yeah, we went to high school together, or, we were neighbors, or in Jane's case, he went to one of her early shows and he loved the music, and she was, how like a fledgling musician will be at their table. He went over to her table and met her, and they just hit it off so well that they exchanged information. Nice. And we've been friends since, and he just kind of messaged me and said, do you want Jane? And I was like, how do you have this? And he's like, yeah, I went to her concert like 25, 30 years ago. And it's been she's an absolute gem. And she was in this movie. And I was like, yeah, I know what movie she's in. You said music. Explain. And we went down the rabbit hole of she did the soundtrack to The Crow. She has songs in Slither, if you remember that movie with Nathan Fillion in them. Cool. She's part of the soundtrack of that because she's friends with the Guns because they came up together in Trauma. That was the movie with Romeo and Juliet. So locked her down, and I said, that'll be a fun guest. Somehow, you get enough Trauma.
Right.
Like I've had Monique a bunch of times.
I was actually just going to say that you've had Monique there, and she has
Monique, so she's done like Nukem High 2 and a bunch of Shakespeare Shitstorm and a bunch of other it's Trauma. It's not like it's not going to be winning like major awards here. They're not going to do that, but they're fun movies.
But nobody goes in looking for that, So,
but then you get enough Trauma, like it's almost like a summoning circle, and then you'll summon Lloyd out of the ether. So now I'll have Lloyd and all that he will bring. He'll have photo ops, every single VHS. I'm sure it's DVD and Blu-ray. But like every single movie that he's ever done, posters, pictures, memorabilia, toys, everything that comes with the Trauma family that, we're building Traumaville is what we're going to do. They usually have a Toxic Avenger. They'll have a Toxie out there hanging out.
Yeah, exactly.
But it gets even wilder. So these are all that was kind of a almost foreseen next step. Like if I get Lloyd in Trauma, great, because I've been trying to get Trauma out for years, but this is
Yeah.
the year. It got even crazier because now they're rebooting Toxic Avenger, or doing
Ah.
a remake of it with Peter Dinklage.
Oh, I saw something about that. Yeah.
That comes out in like August, like end of August. So what a fantastic 2 or 3 weeks before my event. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I couldn't ask for better placement. Then it gets even better. I mentioned earlier Adam Caesar, who did Clown in a Cornfield, and his movie's just now going to digital and DVD here in the
Right.
near future, if it isn't already. He's getting to write the novel of the movie.
Oh, wow.
So now we have so much Trauma, it's disgusting. As if Trauma wasn't already disgusting. We just made it a whole, like, what a happy accident that all of these pieces of Trauma just
are
kind of
all like coming together at this point.
and
That
just
is very
by happy accident. I've had Adam for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
So he's been coming to the event over and over and over again. So it was just another, hey Adam, you want to do the event? Boom, we're done. And then having that and the movie coming out all at the same time, I was like, absolutely yes.
Yeah.
Because I said yes to Jane before Toxie was even a thing coming back. And then that got announced, and I was like, shut up. I got to lock down this Trauma stuff. This has got to be
just sort of meant to be.
It is meant to be
Trauma.
So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of awesome stuff. And then I don't know if I know you shared on the coffee house, but mermaids will be there. We're gonna have costume contests. We're gonna have live music. But the difference from what we did 3 years ago, I don't know, whatever year it was, 2-3 years ago, the year that we had the first Jason concert, we did that as an extra add-on to your ticket to make it optional. Some people took that option, some people didn't, and those that did saw that first Jason went rogue and started 40 minutes early. Oh boy. And I quote Ari, rock and roll knows no time, brother. And I was like, well, it knows 7 o'clock, buddy. Because that's when everybody bought their tickets for.
One of my prized possessions is an autograph from Ari Lehman where he wrote, "Too many guns, not enough cats." It's one of my prized possessions now.
There you go. Yeah, he's there was video. He went down to the Edgar Allan Poe Museum. I got him tickets to go hang out there because he mentioned that it would be of interest. So I sent Todd down to chaperone the kids. And they found a cat out there. They were playing with this cat that just walked up to him. A black cat at the Poe house. Couldn't get better than that. So yeah, I mean, a big cat guy.
Meant to be.
But yeah, we did that, and I think learning from that and how volatile, and to quote, rock and roll knows no time, brother. Yeah, but it, if I set a time, I set a time. Don't be a dick about it. The easier way to control it is, why not just include it with your ticket?
Yeah.
Now you can go see Hip Hop McDougal. You can see, who else do I have? I have Screaming Mad D. I have a couple of other shows that we're going to have going on. Then there's going to be a live play again. This one's going to be I think it's a bachelorette party, but it's a murder mystery, but with dolls. So all of the dolls. So
dolls are creepy. You don't even have to say anymore. Dolls.
Think about who all the famous dolls are right now in movies. Chucky,
Annabelle.
Oh, who's got a new movie coming out?
Yeah.
She did Dances. She's now 2.0.
Oh, Megan.
Absolutely. Megan. I am so looking forward to this one.
Okay.
And I said, if your Megan isn't up there doing awkward dances and like just deadpan looking into the crowd and just, that's what I want. I want it to just make it weird. They have full express permission to make it weird while they dance and do stare blankly, find an audience member and make it weird. Just stare directly at them. But we're going to do that. yeah, there's so much cool stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be that, and then we're doing the actual film festival. We're going to have 4 or 5 independent films and a student film.
Oh,
We'll see
nice.
how that pans out after this weekend, because it's going to be covering the Missouri State Penitentiary and Brian Paoni's book release, among other things. So they're going to be talking about like the actual signing, the hauntings, and I don't know what to expect, but it's going to be a student film, and we all should definitely check it out because John Carpenter said that she's going places. So yeah, there's a whole story about that I know we went over several videos ago with Brian.
Nice.
But this kid's going places, and John Carpenter, my great uncle, fully removed, said that she's going fully removed. I tell people that too, like, are you related to Jennifer Carpenter? And I'm like, yeah. She's my second cousin, fully removed. Like, yeah, I'm related to all of these people, but not at all.
All the Carpenters.
Yeah, every Carpenter. Sabrina, yeah, her concert just played last year. It's fantastic. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be awesome. So we got film festivals, we got live music. I think this is what the vision year one. We'll not even say year one. I don't know what that vision was, but year two. I think this is what it was setting up to become. Was almost an arts festival, but for science fiction, horror, thrillers, mysteries, paranormal romance, a little bit of every flavor for everybody.
Actually, because of your show, there was one of the authors, and again, memory. I can blame the encephalopathy, the coma, but one of the authors had a book signing 2 blocks from my house. This past summer or last summer, whatever. And it's great. I got a T-shirt there and a book.
Okay.
And the T-shirt says, it's called Cupboard Maker Books, and it says, "We are the bookstore with the cats," because they have cats wandering around.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, man, it's fun when you see them all around.
Yeah, and after you get to know some of them, you realize, wow, we are everywhere. We're all
over the place. Well,
all over the place.
I think aside from Frightreads, I think I'm going to be up your neck of the woods. I think I'm going to be in Westminster, which is slightly closer, but not by too much. I'm much farther north than I normally would be in terms of PA. I know I have that slated and a couple other things, but other than that, I'll definitely see you at Oaks.
Yeah.
And everybody else can see you at Frightreads and Oaks for sure.
I've got my my list. I'll be at Cherry Hill in August for Monster Mania.
There you go.
I'm taking 2 of the residents I care for at work to the Harrisburg Comic-Con and the farm show one day.
Okay.
And that's in August. I'll be at Frightreads, of course, in September 13th and 14th.
Yay. It's on the website, which is right there.
I'll be working at the Carlisle Comic-Con October 17th and 18th.
Yeah, I will actually
be at Living Dead Weekend October 24th and 26th. Then Creature Feature Scranton November 7th, 9th. And Monster Mania Oaks, November 21st to 23rd. So any of those places, come see me. Say hello.
Yeah. And I unfortunately will be in New Mexico at a Barnes & Noble in my brand new books tour.
Very cool.
I'll find myself in New Mexico, so I can't come out to the Carlisle. And if they'd stop announcing cool people, that would be great. Because it's killing me. I was like, oh, I should. Shit, I'm busy that day. And I do that a lot.
We haven't had Jim Crut to Frightreads yet, have we?
No. He's been down the area plenty.
Yeah,
but I haven't had it by event.
Yeah, it doesn't live too far.
He's like a couple hours away. But
what do you think of like a Night of the Living Dead, George A. Romero kind of reunion?
I think I'm going to wait until Living Dead Con breathes their last breath in their location. I know that sounds so morbid, but I think because that's where you go for that.
Yeah,
I think I don't want to overlap with them. Like if I did it this
year, that makes sense.
And they were on their way out. Oh my God, I'd hate to siphon people from them because it's slightly closer.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
See all your zombie people up there. If they're no longer,
we're actually hoping he will find another location for it there, but that does make sense because that's a very specialized
It
show,
is.
you know. So yeah, that
It
makes
is.
sense.
Yeah, and I'd like to maybe get other guests that are from like newer zombie products, and maybe oh man, if I can get Mel Brooks's kid, Max Brooks, with his
Ah,
World War Z book. Oh yeah, and Zombie Survival Guide. Um,
ah,
that I think that would be a good get for me, but that's all wishful thinking. A whole year and some change away from now, but not out of the cards. But I realistically want to see how the
oh,
Living
Brian
Dead.
Michael McCarroll. I'm pointing him at screen as though anybody can see. Is saying, "Where is Frightreads?"
Yeah, that's an inside joke because
Oh, okay.
every single comment that I get with the image that says Fright Reads Book Festival, date, time, location, they'll always say, "Where is this event? When is this event?" And thankfully, I have a great fan base or vendors that will just go, "It's in the," what was it? Somebody says, "It's in the image, dumbass." And I was like, "It's what I wanted to write, but I can't." But thank you for taking that bullet for me. But yeah, you got it written in there, and you're just like, guy, just it's a book festival. You're telling me you can't read? Come on, like, please. But my joke has now been from the Guardians of the Galaxy, where they go, "Who is Gamora? Where is Gamora?" And then Drax goes, "Why is Gamora?" My follow-up question is, why is Fright Reads? And it's just like I question myself the whole time I plan and prep and run this thing. I'm like, why is Fright Reads? But it's always my valid follow-up. But every year I try to talk myself out of it, and every year I have an event. I have fun at it. I
I
enjoy
have
what it.
heard you say, "I don't know if I'm going to do this again."
Oh, it's
And
every
then there's
time.
people like me behind you, like,
I literally have this discussion with myself 3 to 4 times a year. This is usually another season. Like it's that 2 or 3 months prior where I'm just like, what if I can survive this one? I'm not doing another one. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And then the event will be so much fun. I'll have met such cool people. Everybody will be like coming up to me and going, "Oh my god, I had so much fun."
and then you
And
get to do
and then I'll
karaoke.
go, "All
Yes.
right, so how about I do this for next year?" And it will just reignite, like, okay, here were our problems, here's how we can fix them, and here's how they can make new problems for next year. um but yeah, it reignites and reinvigorates, and then I want to quit again, usually in January. Then I want to quit again probably in March, and then usually around June, July is my other quitting time. And yeah, it's about that quitting time before the event, where I just kind of like, I'm seeing like pre-sales and stuff, and I'm kind of like, I'm hoping, and and it always ends up being very fine. It ends up well.
Yeah.
But it's the anxiety of an event runner. You're just like, please, because you're just seeing like there's the economy, the weather, a number of football game. Jesus, the football game can derail my event, because we're so thick into Ravens and Orioles territory. I think this year we should be safe, but I have fears and worries about those factors. But it surprises me every year. All of the vendors have a blast, except for Jenny Allen, who almost got killed by a sign that blew over. It was her own sign. It wasn't weighted down. Not her fault, but also her fault. Um, but we all had a blast, and we've been having a blast every year. And my favorite thing is vendors that come back year after year after year, that have been there since the terrible basement con that was in the community center year one. That was awful. And I don't tell anybody, "Oh, it was so much fun." No, it was a nightmare. I hated it. I don't even want to include it on the website because it looks so bad. But I also include it on the website so you can click that picture and see the 3 people milling about in the photo. It was early, so we didn't have a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
We ended up having about 75 attendees or so, which is not bad for a year one, kind of learning the ropes on advertising and free tickets right off the heels of the pandemic. Not bad. And then we have photos every subsequent year at the sports center where it's just growing and growing, and the product is becoming better. And this year is going to be at the fairgrounds, where I have ample parking. I have so much room for activities inside the building. We're going to get silly with what we can build and put in there. I don't like to just have come inside and buy crap. I want you to be able to come inside and have an experience. So there will be a lot of experiences inside. I know that the Harrah's Nightmare experience is going to be great.
Yeah.
The mermaid people are going to be great. We're going to have the Ghostbuster experience. You're going to be able to meet a DeLorean, a Jurassic Park Jeep. Things Forsaken has their sidecar motorcycle that was screen used. Whether or not you like their movie, watch their movie, know about their movie, it's still a cool freaking bike.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that and Tromaville. Geez, I mean, we're gonna have the Annabelle doll. Did you see little Annabelle?
I did not. I didn't know you were going to have an
boy.
Annabelle doll.
We're gonna have little Annabelle. Get Haunted is bringing little Annabelle. It's a
Very cool.
it's a touring mock-up that lives in the same room as Annabelle.
Oh, nice.
There are several photos with the two of them together, and yeah, it's pretty cool. They're gonna have little Annabelle there. I mean, it's just gonna be such a blast. So anybody watching, or if you're doing a rewatch ages later, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, whatever, definitely check out frightreads.com. All of the special guests. I think we just broke the threshold of 100 authors.
Nice.
I feel like it was 100 authors already, which is more like normally we had about 60 to 70 authors. I've now got like 110 to 120. So we've almost doubled the amount of authors. There will be somebody you want to read. I cannot stress that enough. And whether you like books, whether you like movies, TV shows, or even music, you can come and meet DonnaJean. That should be more than enough. That should sell every single ticket right now. Everybody, like, I should sell out of tickets. I should have the fire marshal telling me to shut this thing down because the line to meet DonnaJean is so long that we can't do anything about it.
I am like, to be honest, I kind of see I see myself as somebody who knows so many awesome people. And because I know awesome people, I'm able to introduce them to other awesome people. And that's really how I see myself. But I am so grateful. Like, I'll have people come up to me at shows. And at the last Monster Mania, somebody came up to me and told me that someone else had told them they had to meet me because I'm so nice. And I was like, what a wonderful thing to hear. I'm so honored by that.
Yeah, they didn't say you got to go to the event and meet Vincent D'Onofrio. They said you got to go meet DonnaJean.
Well, since they were going to the event, not go to the event to meet me, but since they were going.
But that was their highlight, is to meet you.
And it's funny because I work as a handler at all of the shows except Monster Mania. And what I usually do at Monster Mania, depending on what they need me for, is I usually work the VIP. And at one point last year, they had me talk to in Cherry Hill. They do these Yorkie rescues.
Yes.
Yorkie rescue auction. And of course, I take care of feral cats and I do TNR and all that. And I'm just a weird animal person. And I was asked to talk to the vendors about donations for that. And I loved that because so many of the vendors I already knew and loved, the ones I didn't know, I got to meet and talk to them about animals. And, like, really, I'm just like the most fortunate person in the world that I do the things that I do at these conventions, that I get to interact with and meet these wonderful, amazing people. And so many of the people at Monster Mania come up to the VIP table and they'll even ask me like what time I'm on duty so they can come up then. And I'm just so honored, I'm babbling now. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. That's why I even, last episode was my last episode. But when we got talking and setting this up, and I was like, well, I'm a liar. This is the last episode. We're going to end it on a high note. Because everybody should come to Fright Reads and find you, which you will be with more than likely, because I know it's going to be a coin toss for you. But you're going to be with old Mrs. Kruger.
Yep,
I
my
think.
plan is to be a handler with B because we had set that up before Tara was involved. But I'm hoping she can be close to us, so I at least can see her, and if she needs a
Yeah.
little bit of help, give her a little bit of help. But I do want to say though, I know Beatrice is not going to do too many conventions this year. So
Yeah,
if you
I'm one
want
of
to meet
her
her,
like four, I think.
I,
She's
I think
very
so.
limited in travel. I think she did something in her neighborhood, more or less,
Mhm.
like you with Carlisle. It's down the road. It would be
Right,
silly to not.
right.
But she did a couple of nearby shows, and I know mine is on the docket. And even that, Matt had to not twist her arm, but like, come on, this guy's a great guy, and the events are fun. Had not really sold it to her, but convinced her
Well,
to
I think a
throw
lot of
one
it
more in the hat.
was she put so much heart and soul and money
Oh yeah.
into her books. And when I think Matt told her, well, you can sell your books, people
Oh
come,
yeah.
to talk about the books. I think that I suspect, because I don't
Oh
want
yeah.
to speak like I know, but I suspect greatly that that had
Oh,
a
we
big
know
influence on
exactly
her.
what she's thinking.
And then, of course, spending the weekend with me.
Of course, that's why
I
she's
just,
doing it.
she can just show you, start talking Cantonese or whatever to you.
I was to say, I think actually you both asked the same question: was can I be with DonnaJean and can I be with B? And I was like, yeah, that works out. That it sorted itself out. But if you're going to get a ticket, definitely go to frightreads.com. That's been down here for a good chunk of the end of this video. We went over by like 30 minutes of the usual time, but well worth it. We had some great stories. You got to learn some insider stuff between yours and Kane Hodder's mutual connection there, and similar experiences. Um, if you don't make it to Fright Reads, it is what it is. But go to any of the events that we talked about and just see this wonderful person. You definitely want to see DonnaJean and see her at the VIP booth next to a celebrity, helping take selfies or whatever. That's why
You
you
might
want to
see
go.
me and Allie taking care of cats.
Yeah, or that, don't pay any mind to the weird cat lady scooping up cats and taking care of them. But DonnaJean, thank you so much for taking your time out. I know you probably need to eat like a Crunch bar or something because your meter's been going
Actually, my
bonkers
sugars are going the other direction, so
the
it's like
other
I keep
direction.
taking little bits of insulin. But I do actually have to go out and put some food out for the feral kitties that only eat at night. So I have to go do that, and I have to get up
Well,
at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning to work for work. So
oh boy. Yeah, so it's been great. Thank you all. Go to frightreads.com. The names have been going through. There goes B right there. The names have been going by. Go to the website, view all the special guests, view all the celebrities, all of the authors, so much stuff. And the website's constantly being updated, especially going forward now, because now we're starting to schedule and plan, and you're going to see the full breadth of what we're going to have this September. So I'll see you there. And if I don't see you there, I'm going to come find out why.
ha.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for